And now it's my turn. I've been frustrated recently by how many companies have tried to seize hold of the term DevOps to describe their tools and services. DevOps isn't a product, and it isn't something you can buy. So I wanted to take a moment this month to describe exactly what DevOps can look like, at least in one kind of scenario. Now keep in mind that the point of DevOps is to shorten and smooth the path between programmers and the consumers of whatever those programmers are coding. That might be users or other services or whatever. Ops, operations, is a middleman, often tasked with making sure that everything runs reliably. Working together, or DevOps, if you will, lets developers and operators work together more smoothly. For example, consider a classic environment where developers work in a development environment. They've likely got servers, probably virtual machines, where they test their code. Often, in the course of development, a developer will decide to add some new code library or other dependency to their application. So they add it. Then they recompile their application, deploy it to that test machine, and see if it works. Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps they've missed some other dependency. So they add that dependency and try again. Eventually everything works, but maybe they haven't done such a good job of documenting what all they added. That creates problems when operations tries to deploy the application in production, and it can create problems for other operational concerns, like disaster recovery planning, high availability, maintenance, patching, and so on. DevOps assumes a different approach. Developers aren't given a fixed server or a set of servers to test on. Instead, as part of their program code, they create some kind of document that describes their application dependencies. In the Microsoft world, this might be a partial desired state configuration document. In Amazon Web Services, this might be an Elastic Beanstalk environment file. But operations has configuration concerns also. So they create one or more configuration documents, perhaps describing network configurations, firewall configurations, and so on. Keep in mind that nobody's configured anything on a real machine yet. They're simply describing their desired configuration in an eventual environment. When the developer is ready to test, they push a button, perhaps even within their development toolset, and automation routines set up by operations spin up a new test environment. Those routines consume the configuration documents created by both the developer and by operations configuring the new environment. The routines deploy the application to that environment, and the developer begins testing. This environment might be a virtual machine, it might be a container, it might even be a physical server being rebuilt from scratch each time. It doesn't matter. But once it's all set up, the developer tests the application. If they find anything wrong, the test environment is decommissioned and destroyed. The developer fixes their code and perhaps modifies their configuration document, and then they try again. This process, which isn't that different from compiling and deploying an app, although it might involve a bit more time, continues until the developer is happy. And incidentally, this whole process is one reason why containers are becoming so popular. They let us spin up test environments like this much more rapidly so that developer productivity isn't impacted so much. Once everything is working, the application is ready to be deployed into production. Everything operations needs to know about the environment configuration is already known, already tested, and already validated. There's almost no room for error, and the entire process can be automated quite easily. As developers move to faster release cadences, perhaps using project methodologies like Agile, this kind of test to production process lets those faster releases be moved into production both more quickly and more reliably. And that's what DevOps is really all about. Sure, not every scenario is going to look exactly like this one, but that's the basic gist. Now, obviously, there are tools and services that can help make some of those steps easier to automate, and that's where vendors can certainly have a part to play. But nobody can sell DevOps to you on a DVD or in a download. DevOps is a way of working, and it's very much a cultural change for most organizations. Tools are important to implementing it, but tools have nothing to do with adopting it. Of course, that's just my perspective. I hope you'll share yours, and you can reach me on Twitter @ConcentratedDon. And that's our show for this month. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll check back next month for more of Pluralsight's IT Ops news and talk. Until next time, I'm Don Jones.